What's up everyone and welcome to the club. In today's video I'll be showing you how to create a sketch portrait of Anna from Frozen. Welcome back everyone and thanks for joining me today. For today's lesson I'm going to be using this 0.7mm mechanical pencil with a 2B graphite stick. Now if you don't have a mechanical pencil, anything you have around the house will work just fine. Now the first thing I want to do is break down the basic shape and composition of our portrait before we get into the details. So let's start with some guidelines. We're going to start at the very top of our page right in the middle. Just going to lightly draw a line coming down the center, just using these short lines. Let's move back to the center. We're going to draw another line going across from left to right. Now I want to use these two lines to create a circle in the center of our page. So from that center point, let's move up to right about here. Just going to mark that off. Now I want to measure that distance from the center down towards the bottom and do the same thing. And then we'll repeat that across this horizontal line. So mark the left and right side. And then we're going to connect the center point of each mark with a curve to create our circle. So we're going to start with the top left and just carefully work our way around. Now this circle doesn't have to be perfect, we're just using this as a guide for the bounding area of the face. Let's add another set of guidelines. From the left side of our circle, coming all the way down, on the right, let's extend that up towards the top. And I'm going to add one more line going across the bottom of our circle. Now with our circle and guidelines in place, let's start blocking out the key facial features. Now I want to locate the center of the eyes. So on the left side of our circle, we're going to find the halfway point between the middle and the left side. Right here, it's going to mark that off. Let's do the same thing on the right. Now I want to surround this point with a circle. So this will define the size of the iris and also the pupil. Let's do the same thing on the right, just going around that center point. Now you can always come back and readjust the placement after. Let's connect the top of our circles with a straight line going across. And again, these lines are going to help us align our drawing so it's balanced out. Now I want to add some shape to the eyelid. Let's start from the top. We're going to step down, so the eyelid's going to sit on top of the eyes. So we're just going to drop that line down a little bit lower. Let's start at the top, send this in, and then pull that down towards that bottom line. Now let's go to the outside. We're going to curve this out. Just a slight bend coming down towards the side. Curves down and then in. Let's add another circle in the center. Just going to trace that circle going around. Now on the top left side, just crossing the edge of the pupil, we're going to draw a small circle for a highlight. Let's go in and just roughly and lightly shade in the inside of the pupil. And we want to go around that highlight. Now we're going to move up, draw another line going across from left to right. And this is the edge of the eyebrows. Now let's move down. Halfway between here and the bottom, right here, we're just going to lightly sketch out a small circle for the tip of the nose. Let's draw a line going across the bottom of the nose. And let's up and in. Now from the side of the nose, we're going to draw two straight lines going up towards that center line. Now our mouth is going to sit along the bottom of our circle. So we're going to start with a curve going across, curl this up on the ends. Let's add the upper lip. Start with a straight line, bend this down and out towards the side. It's going to curve the lower lip. Let's add a little bracket on the ends. Now I'm going to follow these two lines up towards the top. Just going to flatten off the edge of the eyebrows. Let's give the eyebrows some shape, going across, up, and then down towards the side. Let's add a little bit of thickness, going straight out, and then down towards the point. Now I'm just going to go in and just lightly shade the inside of the eyebrows. Now once we create the rough sketch of the face, we want to add some shape to the head. So from the bottom lip, we're just going to locate the chin. So right about here, draw a straight line going across. Now from the side, I'm just going to round out the cheeks. So let's start on the left. I'm going to come down, round this out, and then pull that in towards the chin. And again, we can modify the shape after, just pulling that in. Let's go to the side of the head. We're going to draw two half circles just to block out the ears. Let's go to the top right side of our circle. Bring the hair bangs coming down and across towards the left. And we'll bend that back up towards the top. Let's add another one, coming down and across towards the eyebrows. I'm going to continue to add a few more going across towards the left. Let's go back over towards the right. We're going to add that part that goes across. Now just pulling this up above our circle and just come down towards the left ear. Let's go back here. Just going to part the hair coming down and across. Let's curve in the opposite direction down towards the ear. Now just underneath the chin, we're going to draw two straight lines coming down the side of the neck. And then step up to slope the shoulders, coming down and then out. And I want to go back up to the top and just build up the volume of the hair. So we're just going to start from the side of the ear, just putting this up a little bit higher and then back down on the side. And those two braids coming across, so we're going to bend this in and then down across the shoulders. Just add the curve on the inside of the braids. Now that we have a rough sketch, I'm going to go back and clean up our drawing by erasing some of these guidelines. This will help us get a better look at our proportions. So once we clean up our drawing, I'm going to go back to the eyes and start adding some more details and also refining the shapes. So just working our way across the top of the eyelid. You want to add those thick lashes going across. I'm just going to start with the volume first, just getting the right thickness. Go back and just lightly shade that in. Just going out at an angle. Work our way across the bottom of the eye. Now we're just starting to add some darkness and contrast to our drawing. Going a little bit darker with the pupils. Now let's work our way across the nose. So just starting with the middle. Little dip going up towards the nostrils. I'm just going to add a light curve going across the bottom to create that facet. And a little bit of shading in the center going up. Now, let's go back down to the mouth. And from the inside of the eyebrows, I'm going to add a fold coming in and then down across the bridge of the nose. Just pulling this down. And it's going to work our way around the perimeter of the head. So I'm just going to push the temples in slightly towards the eyes. And then bump this out around the cheeks. Again, we can go back and modify the shapes if we need to. And then just bring that in towards the chin. Now it's always a good idea to take a step back and just look at your overall composition before we go any further. Now I'm working our way across the hair bangs. So it's going to add a little bit of texture, just separating the tips of the hair. Right here, it's going to curl this around. Now let's go a little bit higher. Just bring some of that texture coming down. Just going to bring this down towards the ear. And the hair is going to go on top on the ears. Just going to brush this across. And then in. Going across the top of the head. Let's bring this down towards the part. Now from this part, it's going to brush the hair going out from the center to the left and right side. Now it's going to add some simple braids. So we're going to take that outside line and the inside. So let's just darken that up a little bit and just split that down the middle on both sides. And I'm just going to pull the hair in towards that middle line on both sides. Just pinching that in towards the center. And I'm going to draw the outside of the braid. Start from the outside curve, just pulling that in towards that center line, and just layer them in underneath, just working our way down towards the bottom. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the right side. So we're going to step up, just curving this in. Let's do the exact same thing on the right. And we'll add the collar, just bending this in towards the center. Draw a straight line coming down. Now I'm going to go back and clean up our drawing one final time before we get into the contrast and more details. Now I'm going to switch to my thicker pencil. This is my 0.9 millimeter. I'm going to add some contrast. So starting back at the top of the eyelid, I'm just going to add some thick and thin lines, some thicker lines on the end, just tapering it out towards a point. And this will give our drawing a little bit more weight. And I'm just going to brush those lashes going up and then out. Now I'm just going to darken up that upper lip with a medium shade. And then the side of the bottom lip, just fade that in towards the middle and darken up the bottom. Now I'm just going to work our way across the edge of the hair. Again, just adding some more texture as we go across. I'm just going to add a little bit of texture to the hair across that braid, from the bottom and coming down from the top. Also across the top of the hair, just going to brush this down. Now I'm going to go back and just really darken up the contrast to the eyes, and this will help make our drawing pop. Now I'm just going to use the side edge of my 2mm pencil to add a little bit of shading to the outside of the iris. And I just want to fade that down towards the bottom to create a little bit of reflection and glare. And then we're going to go back to the braids. Add a little bit of detail to the body. Those clips in the center of the cloak. Now I'm just going to rough this in, not paying too much attention to the details. And then we'll go back to the side edge of our 2mm pencil and just add some shading. So we'll start just underneath the eyebrows and just fade that down. So this area, we're just going to push this into shadow. So light's coming from the top of our character and the shadows will sit along the bottom edge of each shape. So we're also going to darken up the bottom of the nose. And this is also going to cast a shadow coming down towards the mouth. Now over on the left side of the face, we're going to add a little bit of a highlight on the edge. Just going to darken this up and then fade that in across the cheeks. And we'll do the exact same thing on the right. I'm going to go back and add those fine details on top with the freckles. Now, as we get near the end, we're just going to tighten up our shadows and details, and always be sure to sign our artwork, and that's pretty much it. There's a sketch illustration of Anna from Frozen. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. If you did, please be sure to subscribe because I'm posting new lessons every single day. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.